बार यहाँ से ऐसे नॉक कर देना, ठीक है? Hi everybody, welcome back to PW with me Vandana in yet another lecture of IELTS Question Bank series. Alright guys, very good evening everybody, and I am doing this session with a little bit of throat infection, so just excuse my voice if anything goes haywire. And yes, today we are going to dive deep into IELTS essay writing task 2. Now, if you have been following this series, which is IELTS Question Bank, or if you are a regular watcher of our channel, then you would know, if you are somebody who's preparing for IELTS, then you would know that there are different types of IELTS essays that you have to prepare. Out of those types, today we are diving deep into problem solution essay, and then after we take a look at the complete essay, पूरा postmortem करेंगे essay का, उसके बाद towards the end I will also talk about different possibilities that are there under problem solution essay. So stay tuned till the end. Alright guys, here we go. As I said that we are going to dive deep into problem solution essay, and this essay is also known as causes and effects essay. Let's get started straight away. So this is the prompt that I've got for you, and the prompt says, tourism has grown rapidly in many countries. What issues does this cause? How can they be addressed? Now, number one, in a problem solution essay, the very first thing that happens is, in the information statement, they give you a problem. Okay. Now, tourism has grown rapidly. It doesn't actually sound like a problem. It has its positives. But then they, in the question, are talking about the issues that are created because of the increment in tourism industry. So after this information on tourism growth, now the very first question is, what issues does this cause? Issues means they are talking about problems. In short, they are saying that because of a growth in tourism industry, what problems are created? That's our first question in the question. And then the second question says, how can they be addressed? That means here they are asking us these solutions to address these problems. Now, I have written analyze the prompt. It is very important. Your step number one when you get a IELTS essay prompt, your step number one is to analyze the macro details, to analyze the micro details very carefully. And then you need to brainstorm relevant ideas. This is extremely important. If you do not brainstorm, if you do not have relevant ideas in your essay, then you stand a very low score. I mean, your chances of getting a high scores go down. So now look at small little details now. This question says, what issues does this cause? So we have a plural noun here. Plural noun means they want more than one. That means a minimum of two problems. And then here also we need to mention two solutions. So ideally in problem solution essay, we write a plural idea body paragraph. I will explain very shortly that what this plural idea body paragraph looks like. But other than that, also keep your eyes open for these kind of plural nouns to understand that you need to write plural ideas or just a single idea will work. Now, in the first 5 minutes, you need to generate your ideas so that you can write your essay peacefully without screwing your mind. So let's quickly do that. Let's quickly brainstorm problems. Why don't you guys tell me that because of rise in tourism, what problems are created as a result? Okay, why don't you guys tell me? Problem number one can be environmental degradation. Environmental degradation. Now, when we talk about environmental degradation, usually we talk about air pollution. But I would say personally for me, when we talk about environmental degradation with respect to increment in the tourism industry, I personally feel that other than air pollution, a lot of noise pollution is also created, which really troubles the local residents staying in that area. Hi Jay, how are you? So, how will we explain environmental degradation? We can talk about air pollution, we can also talk about land pollution, but noise pollution is also something that is created. When increment in tourism activities take place in any certain area, noise pollution is also created. That's our idea number one, problem number one. Problem number two, since we need two problems, right? Now, what can be problem number two? Because of increment in tourism, what problems are created? Number one, I have written for you. What other problems can you think of? What happens? Okay, here you go. There are a lot of fragile. Fragile means sensitive ecosystems. Sensitive ecosystems, and these sensitive areas can't bear the pressure of resorts, hotels, and such development and construction activities. So there are these kind of areas where we are doing a lot of development activities, but we should not, because the ecosystem there is very sensitive and later it might result in some natural calamity. So that's our idea number two, which is that some places are actually sensitive and we should not create hotels, resorts, and other construction should not happen over there. So these are our problems. Now coming to solutions. Now solution number one can be, why don't you tell me? Ek idea to bata do. Solution number one can be, what exactly? What can be done to solve this problem? Number one, solution number one, tourist tax. Number two, promoting sustainable tourism. अब ये क्या होता है? Now, tourist tax is already something that has been implemented in certain places where tourists visiting a certain area, they are charged a small amount of money, and that money is used to maintain the facilities, to maintain the infrastructure of that site. That's our idea number one. So if tourists are coming to an area, then might as well charge them some money so that that area can be maintained. Okay. And solution number two is encouraging sustainable tourism. Now, what is sustainable tourism? A lot of things. For example, in sustainable tourism, it is encouraged for hotels and resorts to use renewable energy. So rather than using the normal stuff, it is encouraged for them to use renewable energy. That's how they talk about green tourism or sustainable tourism. Encouraging small homestays rather than huge resorts. That's another thing that comes under sustainable tourism. So I hope the ideas are making sense. But what I'm trying to say is the way I have generated ideas. What did I do? I understood the question first, because without understanding, you can't generate relevant ideas. So it's very important that you analyze and understand the question first and generate relevant ideas in the first 5 minutes, because without relevant ideas, you are not going to get a high score. Also, why did I say that it's important to analyze and understand the question? Because in problem solution essay, not always, there's no guarantee that they'll always ask issues and solutions. They can ask some random third thing, they can ask reasons also. So you better understand what exactly is being asked and generate ideas around that. Okay, that is something you need to understand now. Although we are going to discuss the entire structure on the next slide, but before that, please understand that because in the question they are talking about issues first, this is going to go in my body paragraph 1. And then the second question is about solutions, and that's why this is going to go in our body paragraph 2. So the same sequence, the sequence that we have in the prompt, we will follow the same sequence in our essay. Now let's quickly understand the structure. All right, now once again, if you are somebody who has been preparing for IELTS, who has been watching our videos, you would know some of it, but let me explain it quickly once again. So the very first paragraph is going to be the introduction paragraph, and inside introduction, आपका step number 1 क्या होगा? What's going to be your step number 1 inside the introduction? Well, this is going to be paraphrase statement wherein we rewrite the same information given in the question. So in IELTS essay prompts, they'll always give you some information. For example, this is the information statement which you need to rewrite, but you need to rewrite it with language changed. Do not write the same language as you see in the question. Once that is done, and you don't need a very fancy rocket science kind of vocabulary to do that. Without using rocket science kind of vocabulary, you can still paraphrase decently. And then comes the thesis statement. And for thesis statement में क्या जाता है? What do you think? Do you think thesis statement is all about opinion? Yes or no? Do you think in this question we are being asked our opinion? Well, in thesis statement, you need to answer whatever the question is asking. So what in this case they are asking? They are asking issues and solutions. That means in thesis, we will write one problem. Issue means problem. We will write one problem plus one solution. That means both these questions need to be addressed in the thesis statement. But please remember, we generated 4 ideas. We are not going to reveal all 4 ideas in our thesis statement. At the most, we will reveal 2 ideas, and that too without explanation, guys. There shouldn't be explanation in the thesis statement. That will go against you because thesis statement में explanation नहीं करते हैं हम. कहाँ करते हैं? Body paragraphs में explanation करेंगे ideas की, right? Now this becomes your introduction paragraph, and then comes your body paragraph 1, which is going to be on issues. Now topic sentence means main idea number 1. Now what was our main idea number 1? It was on environment, environmental degradation. We will write that as one full-fledged sentence, and then we will explain it. In explanation, we can talk about air pollution and noise pollution and how they trouble the locals residing over there. Idea number 2 was about fragile or sensitive ecosystems which cannot bear the pressure of construction activities that are required for tourism, construction activities like building hotels and resorts. Okay, and then we need to explain that with a relevant example. And I have done all this in my essay. If you want to see the entire thing that I'm explaining here, it starts from the very next slide. And then body paragraph 2, you will now follow the same structure that I showed you for body paragraph 1. But body paragraph 2 में आप क्या लिखोगे? In body paragraph 2, now you will write the solutions. What solutions did we talk about? Solution number 1 was tourism tax, and solution number 2 was, are you guys even watching? Okay, here you go. Tourism tax and sustainable tourism, or we also call it green tourism, which has already been implemented in some European countries. Both these solutions will be written, they will be explained, and a relevant example will be given. And once that is done, एक बारी आपने इतना कर लिया, then you move to the conclusion paragraph where you summarize body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. अब इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब है summarize means firstly you need to write in short. You will not explain your ideas once again now because all the explanation should be done in body paragraphs, which you have already done above. So in the conclusion, there's no need to explain your ideas once again. Plus, here in the conclusion paragraph, you need to summarize the ideas that you have already written. But you have written 2 solutions and 2 problems. What does that mean? क्या आप चारों ideas यहाँ पे summarize करोगे? No. You need to summarize one problem and one solution at the most. There is no need for you to summarize all 4 ideas, comma this, comma that. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Summarize one problem and one solution. And very important thing, there is one important rule about conclusion paragraph, which is no new ideas. Because if you write new ideas, एग्जामिनर को लगेगा ये आपका थर्ड बॉडी पैराग्राफ है, फिर वो कंक्लूजन नहीं लगता है, राइट, एंड देन इट विल लुक लाइक एन इनकम्प्लीट एसे विदाउट कंक्लूजन. सो डू नॉट राइट एनी न्यू आइडियाज इन द कंक्लूजन पैराग्राफ. That is the structure we are going to follow. Now let's get started and dive deep into the entire essay sample that I have written for you. So here you go with the introduction paragraph. Question says tourism has grown rapidly in many countries, and I am saying a significant expansion in tourism has been observed in a large number of nations in the recent past, but it has its fair share of challenges for residents of the concerned areas. And then till here I am only saying that okay, tourism has grown, just like the question I'm saying that it has expanded, there's a significant expansion, but it has brought fair share of challenges. Iska kya meaning hota hai? Fair share of challenges, this is a phrase which means कि इसकी अपनी अच्छी खासी दिक्कतें हैं. टूरिज्म में ग्रोथ तो हो गई है, बट इट हैज गॉट इट्स ओन प्रॉब्लम्स. And then the first question, what issues does this cause? And I am saying one of the most pressing issues, pressing means vital, one of the most vital problems arising from this situation is environmental degradation. मतलब एक तो environmental को environment harm होता है. However, now the solutions. However, effective intervention from governments can help remedy the situation. What effective government intervention? In body paragraph 2, we will talk about tourism taxes and sustainable, promoting sustainable tourism, which comes from government intervention. यहाँ पे हम बोल रहे हैं government intervention. Body paragraph 2 में explain करेंगे that what exactly government can do. They can come up with tourism taxes, right? So this becomes your introduction paragraph. I hope this is making sense. Let's now move to body paragraph 2 and talk about issues in detail. क्या issues थे? Issue number 1 was environment को harm होता है, environmental degradation, which is already written here. And issue number 2 was that some ecosystems are sensitive, some places are sensitive, and they cannot bear the pressure of construction activities there. So they might collapse. That was problem number 2. Let's see how I have developed it in body paragraph 1. So I'm saying the surge means increment. The surge in the tourism industry has brought several difficult situations to the forefront. यहाँ तक ना, this is only my context setting statement. Context setting statement क्या होता है? Wherein I'm telling the examiner that okay, this entire paragraph is going to talk about difficult situations. That means issues. Okay, and now comes my topic sentence, my idea number 1. I'm saying firstly, its adverse effects. Adverse means negative. Its adverse effects on the environment cannot be ignored. इतने ज़्यादा negative impacts हैं इसके environment पे कि हम उसको ignore नहीं कर सकते हैं. And then I'm explaining it by saying when a large number of tourists visit popular sites, it often results in traffic congestion on roads. Traffic jam हो जाता है. What else happens? This further creates noise as well as air pollution. This further creates noise as well as air pollution, which significantly contributes to rising temperatures. So environmental degradation में क्या क्या होता है? Air and noise pollution. Air pollution से क्या होता है? Temperatures go up. And then I'm talking about noise pollution also. I'm saying the noise makes it difficult for residents to live peacefully. So moral of the story, if you see, my first idea ended here. Remaining all these sentences, they are only the explanation of first idea, and explanation is super duper important. If you want to touch minimum 7 or go beyond that, explanation तो लेके आनी ही पड़ेगी. Can we use fancy vocabulary, मैम? बिल्कुल, you can use. किसने मना करा है? IELTS है ये, आप बिल्कुल यूज कर सकते हो, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि फैंसी vocabulary यूज करके ही हाई बैंड आएगा. Okay, moving on. Next idea starts from besides. Besides means in addition. So if in one single paragraph you want to bring in another idea, you can use in addition. Secondly, you can also use besides followed by a comma. And then I'm saying besides, there are some places that have fragile ecosystems. फ्रेजाइल मीन्स सेंसिटिव होते हैं, वीक होते हैं ये एरियाज और कंस्ट्रक्शन बर्दाश्त नहीं कर पाते. दैट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से. देयर आर सम प्लेसेस दैट हैव फ्रेजाइल इकोसिस्टम्स एंड कैन नॉट बियर द माउंटिंग प्रेशर ऑफ न्यूमरस रिजॉर्ट्स एंड होटल्स. एंड इनको जो होटल एंड रिजॉर्ट्स के साथ जो प्रेशर आता है, they cannot bear it, they cannot tolerate it. Who? The weak areas. And then I have proved my point by giving example of Kedarnath floods and saying, for instance, the flood in Kedarnath in 2013 is evidence that unchecked tourism, unchecked means टूरिज्म होता जा रहा है, होता जा रहा है, होता जा रहा है, और वहां पे कोई भी उसको चेक नहीं कर रहा है कि भाई लेट्स स्टॉप इट, इतना ज्यादा ये एरिया नहीं ले पाएगा. दैट इज अनचेक्ड टूरिज्म. सो द फ्लड इन केदारनाथ इन 2013 इज एविडेंस दैट अनचेक्ड टूरिज्म and development activities in sensitive areas can lead to mass destruction. So once again, two ideas, explanation of both the ideas and one example that is needed to touch 7 or go beyond 7 in essay writing. Now let's see the solution paragraph. Why I'm emphasizing so much on explanation? Because I get to see essays every single day where students in their body paragraphs they write a list of ideas. 4 ideas लिख देंगे एक body paragraph में and they will be very happy कि हमने बहुत अच्छी job करी है. Guys, explanation के बिना अच्छी job नहीं होगी. You have to explain your ideas. Okay. Now let's move ahead to body para 2. So I'm saying to overcome these problems, sustainable tourism should be encouraged by the concerned authorities. Here you go with our solution number 1, that is sustainable tourism. अब ये क्या होता है, ये कैसे कर सकते हैं? So I'm explaining that. I'm saying this can be done by limiting the number of visitors to a particular area each year, along with encouraging hotels and resorts to use renewable energy. So there can be a maximum number of people who can visit a certain area. A cap can be put on the number of visitors. Right now there is no such cap. At least in India there is no such cap. People can go anywhere in whatever numbers. There is nobody who is checking that number, right? So if we put a cap on the number of visitors visiting a certain area each year, then this problem can be controlled to a great extent. Plus, we can also encourage and give strict instructions to hotels and resorts to use renewable energy. That is how we can promote sustainable tourism. Then comes my another solution, and see how I am introducing second idea with linkers such as besides. Here I have used another measure could be. So I'm saying another measure could be imposing tourist taxes. This is our idea number 2. How tourist taxes will help? Let's read it. This is a small charge collected from visitors that can fund the maintenance of public facilities, which can be an effective way to manage the negative impacts of mass tourism. So a small charge can be taken from tourists and the same money can be used to upkeep, to maintain the infrastructure of that particular area. That's what I'm trying to say here. And then I have given an example of Venice, because Venice में ऐसा होता है. In Venice, for instance, it is a common practice for tourists to pay such a fee which is used for the upkeep of public amenities. Upkeep matlab maintenance. Maintenance of public facilities. Amenities means facilities. So here we go with our second body paragraph, and again we have two solutions here. Both the solutions have been explained with one example. Now let's see the final paragraph, and after that final paragraph we will see more possibilities under problem solution essay. Before wrapping up we will see that also. Okay, here you go with the conclusion paragraph. So it says, in conclusion, while a surge means increment, while a surge in tourism harms the environment and endangers local ecosystems. Endangers means it puts local ecosystem at risk. Risk में डाल देना किसी चीज को मतलब उसको endanger कर देना. So while a surge in tourism harms the environment and endangers local ecosystems, if you see both these ideas we had written in our body paragraph 1. So we are wrapping them up here without explanation. Then I am wrapping up solutions by saying implementing rules that promote ecotourism. Sustainable tourism is equal to ecotourism. Ecotourism can be a possible solution to effectively overcome the difficulties. So that's how we summarize the ideas written in the body paragraphs. In the conclusion, but वो comma डाल के list of ideas मत लिखना guys. That is not a high band score language for your conclusion paragraph. Okay, now this was your entire problem solution essay. We also call it causes effect essay. The only thing that you now need to understand is that ऐसा नहीं होता है कि हर बारी आपसे issues and solutions पूछे जाएं. There's no guarantee that every time in problem solution essay they'll ask issues and solutions. They can ask anything, and you cannot automatically form a paragraph on issues and another paragraph on solutions. You need to see very intricately that what is being asked. Many times they don't ask issues or solutions, they only ask reasons. That why do you think this problem is occurring? Why do you think environment degradation is happening? So you need to understand कि पूछा क्या जा रहा है, what is it that is being asked in the question, and generate relevant ideas. Okay, now look here, let's take a look at one more possibility here. So the same question. Tourism has grown rapidly in many countries, often creating challenges for local communities. What can residents and governments of affected areas do to address the issue? Please tell me now, guys. Around 30 of you are here. Please tell me, what exactly are they asking now? Are they still asking issues and solutions? What is it that they are asking in this question? Take a minute and tell me what is it that they are asking. Batao. They are not asking any issues now. They are only asking solutions. So what does it say? What can residents, कि वहाँ पे रहने वाले लोग क्या कर सकते हैं? कहाँ पे रहने वाले लोग? जहाँ पे बहुत tourism बढ़ गया है, those places where a lot of, exactly Jay. Now they are asking the solutions. But what solutions? Any random solution? No. Now in body paragraph 1, you need to tell exactly what residents can do to solve this problem. That means solutions from residents' angle. Residents means local people who are living in those areas where a lot of tourist activities occur. For example, in India, Goa is a famous tourist place. So what can people of Goa do to solve this problem of environmental degradation that takes place? So वहाँ पे रहने वाले लोग क्या कर सकते हैं? That kind of solution is needed from local communities perspective. And then body paragraph 2 will be solution from government angle, which we already saw that they can bring up tourist taxes, they can promote ecotourism. So government wala angle to हमने देख लिया. But what do you think residents can do to solve this problem? Here you go. Residents could promote lesser known attractions to reduce pressure on overcrowded areas. So for example, local communities of Goa would know those secret places where a lot of tourists do not go, and they can promote those secret places so that pressure on other places in Goa reduce. That is something they can do. Solution number 2, encourage eco-friendly accommodations like small homestays that follow green practices. So rather than huge resorts and hotels, small homestays and hostels can be encouraged to promote ecotourism. So be very careful. Why did I include this slide? Just to tell you that be very careful. Not every time they will ask you very generic issues and solution question. They can be very specific like this. So be very careful of what is being asked. Analyze the question very intricately. And that brings me to the end of today's lecture. And before I wrap up, a very happy Diwali in advance, guys. I hope all of you have a very happy, prosperous and illuminating Diwali with your near and dear ones, with your family. Eat lots of sweets. Don't worry about calories. You can burn those calories later. Just enjoy this festival to the fullest. And I will now see you next week because we also have Diwali break. So we will see you next week now, post Diwali. Diwali के बाद मिलते हैं and we will continue this series. All the very best, guys. Happy